Waiting for the bell. There we go. Good morning. Heather has COVID, so she's going to be joining us online on Zoom. She says she's feeling better, so she's going to participate. Welcome to Theodore Parker Unitarian Universalist Church. My name's Ellie Jarrell, and I've been coming for quite a while, and I opened the day 3 of my Advent calendar today, so that was nice. As we enter into worship, we bring with us all of the sorrows and joys of the week. And we know that here we're held in loving community. Here we are reminded that we're part of something larger than ourselves. Here we seek to counter oppression, to work for healing and justice in a bruised and broken world. Here we invite all of you to bring your perspectives, your beliefs and doubts, and all that is unique and wondrous about you to our service. In the spirit of love, all are welcome here. For those joining us in person, a few things you might want to know. Our congregation is mask optional, and if you'd like to be seated in an area where others are also wearing a mask, this section over there is reserved for people wearing masks. You can use the QR codes at either entrance to pull up the order of service on your phone, or take one of the large print copies available at either entrance. Our service is being recorded today and will be available on YouTube later. If you'd like to have a joy or concern shared with the congregation today during our meditation and prayer, we invite you to fill out a card anytime before the meditation hymn on the table on your right over there with the candles. You may also light a silent candle of joy or concern at any time during the service. People of all ages are welcome to move about in the sanctuary as they need to, or to make themselves comfortable in the cozy zone in front of the first pew, as the kids have done. Children's programming for elementary school-age kids is happening today after our time for all ages. During the service, our children provider, Abby, is available to be with nursery-age children in the nursery, located in the parish hall. Many thanks to Joel, who is our camera point person today, and to, who's over there? To Jennifer, who's our Zoom usher. If you're new to Theater Park or Church or are visiting today, we'd love to stay in touch. You're invited to fill out a connection card, which will give you an opportunity to sign up for our weekly updates and to help us welcome you. A link to the connection card will be in the chat, as well as our contact info. Those joining us here in the sanctuary are encouraged to fill in the contact card that you'll find in the pews within the welcome brochure. I said that about Heather. She can't be here in the sanctuary, but she's joining via Zoom to share the sermon and a few other things. She's a bit better, but she's still in quarantine. She offers special gratitude to all of those who helped jump in this morning, including Nancy Wilbur, Marianne Millsap, and Jennifer Bottomley. We'd like to take a moment to greet one another. For those of you on Zoom, putting your video on this time helps us connect. And so that's Joel. Could you put our sanctuary screen in gallery view? And so that we can see our off-site congregation. Let's give each other a big wave. And sanctuary folks, the camera's in the back under the clock. So also, as we continue to greet each other, if online, you may post a hello in the chat. If you're physically in the sanctuary, we invite you to greet one another and say good morning, and please ask for consent before offering a hug or handshake. Okay, please greet one another.
Our opening words are by Leslie Takahashi, and it's called We Are Waiting. And it's a call and response. So I'll say a few words, and then you will say, we are waiting. I knew you'd get it in one. This is a season of anticipation, of expecting, of hoping, of wanting. This is the time of expecting the arrival of something or someone. We are waiting. This is the time of living in darkness, in the hues of unknowing, of being quiet, of reflecting on a year almost past, waiting for a new beginning, for a closing or an end. This is the time for digesting the lessons of days gone past, anticipating the future for which we are waiting. Waiting for a world which can know justice, waiting for a lasting peace, waiting for a bridge to span the divides which separate us, waiting for a promise or a hope. For all of this, we are waiting. Thank you. And now we'll have our opening hymn. It's number 225, O Come, Emmanuel, in our hymn book. The words are going to be up on the screen, and Michael will be leading us.
Please rise in body or spirit. O come, Emmanuel, and with your captive children dwell. Give comfort to all exiles here, and to the aching heart make cheer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as love to dwell. O come, you splendor very bright, as joy that never yields to might. O come and turn all hearts to peace, as greed and war at last shall cease. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as truth to dwell. O come, you dayspring, come and cheer our spirits by your presence here, and dawn in every broken soul, as vision that can see the whole. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as light to dwell. O come, you wisdom from on high, from depths that hide within a sigh, to temper knowledge with our care, to render every act a prayer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as home to dwell.
I hope you'll join me now in saying the words of our shared covenant, our chalice lighting, which I'll say once in English and once in Spanish in honor of our sister community in Plazuelas, El Salvador. I think Jojo's gonna light our chalice, if you're up for it. Wonderful. Please say them with me. They'll be up on your screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia y el servicio es nuestra oración. Esta es nuestra gran promesa, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
Today marks the first Sunday of the season of Advent. And in the Christian tradition, Advent is a time of preparation for the arrival of Jesus Christ into the world. And it is a time to reflect on what it means to be waiting. From its most ancient origins, Advent has been a time of expectation and preparation. As Unitarian Universalists, during Advent, we ask, what are we waiting for and preparing for in our own lives and in the life of our world? We light candles each of the 4 Sundays for the season of Advent. The first candle today for hope, the second candle for peace, the third candle for joy, and the fourth candle for love. This morning, we light the first candle for hope. And it's already lit. Thank you.
What are we waiting for and preparing for in our own lives and in the lives of the world? We ask this question in relation to the season of Advent, and we can also ask it in relation to the specific point in the year's turning that we find ourselves in. We are now in the last few weeks before the winter solstice, which is the very darkest day of the year, and the official beginning of winter. Okay, I think we have a camera issue, so I'm going to switch to the pulpit. Yes, our camera has been getting stuck recently, so usually we can move around to different places, and not right now. So I'm going to continue from here. So, we are almost at the winter solstice. We are entering this very darkest time of the year. And those who celebrate Christmas, any of us here, might already feel deep in the preparation and anticipation of holiday time at the end of the month. And all of us, regardless of our cultural and religious traditions, are preparing for and anticipating the coming winter. So in our culture, this time of year often has a frantic energy to it, right? There's so much to get done before the end of the calendar year and the semester and everything else this month contains. I think at its best, Advent can invite all of us into a different approach to this season, to this month. Something that may be more in line with what our bodies and our hearts need to prepare for the coming winter. A bit more slowness, stillness, a quiet listening to the world around us and to our own bodies. A book that I often turn to as a framework for relating to Advent is called All Creation Waits, The Advent Mystery of New Beginnings by Gail Boss. I'll have it around later if you all want to see it. And we are going to have some illustrations from the book up on the screen. So it's a book of meditations, one for each day leading up to Christmas, in which the author reflects on how 25 different animals experience the time of year that we're in, and how each of those creatures adapt to living largely in darkness. Each meditation has beautiful illustrations that go along with it, so I'm actually going to ask Joel to put those up on the screen. I just have a few excerpts so you all can get a taste of the illustrations. Yeah, gorgeous. I think there are 3 of these slides if you want to go through them slowly, Joel, as I'm talking. So the author writes that animals can show us, all of us humans, how a healthy soul responds to encroaching darkness. And there's more than one response. There's a turtle response, a loon response, a black bear's response. When the primal fear of the dark that we experience at this time of year begins to slide over us, animals unselfconsciously and forthrightly offer unfearful responses. They take in the threat of dark and cold, and they adapt in amazing and ingenious ways. They shape themselves to life as it is given. I wonder if that frame might help any of us as we try to find some moments of stillness and grounding amid the frantic energy of our culture at this time of year. If we were a muskrat, or a black bear, or a chickadee, or a firefly, how might we approach this time of year? How might we allow our bodies to respond to encroaching darkness and enter the long wait for the sun's return? I'm going to leave you all with that question today as I invite the kids to join me for Children's Chapel. We're going to be talking more about Advent together, preparing for this season, and making some of our own illustrations of animals that inspire us this time of year. Thank you all. Please lead us in our children's benediction. Thank you.
For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy, and come back in peace, and come back in peace. Blessed be.
We turn now to a time of meditation and prayer. In a moment, I'll read any candles of joy or concern that you wish to light. So if you wish to have one read, please come forward and write one, or you may write a silent, you may light a silent candle if you wish. And if you're on Zoom, you may put your words of joy or concern into the chat. I invite you to remain seated now, if you're not lighting a candle, as the choir leads us in our centering hymn, There Will Be a Light by Ben Harper.
All right, so the choir knows this already, so if you want, just the first time, let them sing it, and you can join in. There will be a light. 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 There will be, there will be, there will be a light. There will be a light.
Let's take a moment to pause just before I read these. Deepen into a space of meditation, a space of prayer, and to hold these joys and concerns as the prayers that they are. And this is from Katie, a joy. I turned 40 on Wednesday and have been celebrating with my friends and family all week. And a sorrow. We lost Sandra Day O'Connor on Friday. She was a real inspiration to women and girls. Thank you. And from Carol Allen, a joy. For all the TPC people who help to make our fundraiser events possible by working on the event itself and by attending. P.S. We made over $500 last night at the Music on Center Street concert. Special thanks to the Jennifers and Tori and Susan Karen. Thank you. A prayer of gratitude. And a joy from Kathy Ware that my whole family was together for Thanksgiving. And a joy that many share and a sorrow for some. Amen. And this is from online, from Shirley Johnson. It was wonderful being with you last Sunday, and it was wonderful having you with us. Thank you. And now I'd like to light one last candle for the joys and concerns that are in our hearts and unspoken. And I also lit a candle of joy for Shirley's. And now continuing in meditation and prayer, perhaps letting your gaze soften or closing your eyes, feeling the gravity of the earth holding you, feeling yourself solid in the presence of the rest of this congregation, all of us as one. And I thank Reverend Heather for the words of this prayer. Holy One, who knows the longing of our hearts? We long for your peace in these hard times. We long to feel purpose. We long to feel connection. We long for healing. We long for justice. Holy One, be present for our longing. Be present to us as we wait and work for a world with more justice, more peace, more love. Knowing that in our waiting, we are still living and loving and connecting and finding meaning. Holy One, in this season of Advent, amidst the lights and celebrations, amidst the preparations and parties, amidst the hustle and bustle, may we remember to make room for you, for moments of love and connection, for moments of beauty and tenderness, for stillness and for spirit. Together, let us rest in several moments of stillness as we lift up the silent prayers of our hearts.
come home, who wait for one who will not come home. Bless them. Who wait with fear, who wait with joy, who wait with peace, who wait with rage, who wait for the end, who wait for the beginning, who wait alone, who wait together. Bless them. Who wait without knowing what they wait for or why. Bless them. Who wait when they should not wait, who wait when they should be in motion, who wait when they need to rise, who wait when they need to set out. Bless them. Who wait for the end of waiting, who wait for the fullness of time, who wait emptied and open and ready, who wait for you. Oh, bless. Generosity is a spiritual practice in our Unitarian Universalist congregations. We give to remind ourselves of how many gifts we have to offer. We give to remember that we're part of something bigger than ourselves. We give because we believe in music and sacred space. We give with gratitude for all that we've been given, and with the faith that together we have more than enough. Links to donate will be in the chat, or you can take a meditative moment writing out a check and sending it to the church after the service. Ushers will be coming around the sanctuary to collect an offering from those in the pews who wish to donate something more tangible. Yukiko is going to be playing Remembering the Rain by Bill Evans, who's written the other pieces she's playing today. And so while she plays, an offering to sustain this congregation of memory and hope will be gratefully received. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. It's so good to be with you this morning, and I so wish that I could be there in person with all of you. I just want to reiterate my gratitude this morning for all of the bonus worship leaders who stepped up, especially Nancy Wilbur and Marianne Millsap and Jennifer Bottomley, who all helped to coordinate and step into various parts of the service this morning. And I know many people have asked how I'm feeling, and I am feeling much better than I was earlier in the week, but I'm still not out of my quarantine period. And also, due to having COVID this morning, I'll be sharing a sermon I wrote a few years back and updated a little bit for relevance. But I think the message really still shares a lot about living in a time of Advent and feels very, very relevant to the time that we're in. So are you ready? I love that I can hear you back. This is great. All right. It's just like preaching in person, but also a throwback to 2020. I don't know. So this past Thursday night on November 30th, my mom and my sister and I were all on our family text thread, and we were after the kids had gone to sleep in our households. And the next morning was Friday, December 1st, which meant that this was the night to put up the Advent calendar, the countdown calendar. And every year as a child on December 1st, my sister and I would come downstairs to find 24 paper cutouts. They would be decorated like a candy cane or a snowman or a Christmas tree, and they'd be paper folded over and hung on a string, one for each day of December until Christmas. And inside each cutout was some sort of activity, play holiday music or set up the snow village or make cookies or go to the church pageant. Family parties, decorating, getting our tree, reading a special Christmas book, they all got a day on the calendar. It was our family's version of an Advent calendar, and it was a tradition that my sister and I both loved so much in our childhoods that we each started sharing this tradition with the children in our households. And Thursday night, we were texting pictures of our completed calendars back and forth, hung up and waiting for the kids to find them in the morning. And I remember as a child that feeling of anticipation, the feeling of excitement that this calendar elicited. Coming downstairs to find the countdown calendar had been hung up, and knowing that it meant a month of holiday activities and family traditions. The thing the countdown calendar did is that it helped make each day a special experience, to live in the waiting for Christmas to come, to find joy and connection and be present in the activities of waiting and of preparing. And waiting for something good to happen can be such a delicious and exciting experience, as it was for me as a child waiting for Christmas. But waiting can also be really hard too. And I think children know this well, but it's true for adults too. It can feel like the here and now is not enough. Like someday things will be better or more in line with how we want our lives to be. So when I first preached this sermon, we were 21 months into COVID. And I remember in that time how it felt like we were all just waiting. And this week has been a real throwback for me in that time, being quarantined in one space. I saw a friend who came to drop something off, and I stood masked on the porch 15 feet away from her saying hello. And even preaching on Zoom this morning has brought up such visceral memories of time spent in quarantine, just waiting. And at that time, we were waiting for a vaccine, waiting for things to go back to being in person, waiting for things to feel normal again, even though we knew then and we know now that some things would never feel the same as they did before the pandemic. And though we aren't waiting in the same way as we were mid-pandemic, in so many times in our lives, I think we find ourselves in chapters where we are waiting for the next chapter to come. And there is joyful waiting in my life right now too. As I shared with all of you a few weeks ago, I am waiting for the arrival of a baby in early May. And this is something long anticipated and hoped for. And in this moment, I am waiting and hoping and preparing and wondering, what will my world be like after what I'm waiting for has arrived? And here in this season of Advent, I'm thinking about how it feels to be in a time of waiting, whether that waiting is a personal waiting or a collective one. In my own spiritual life, I find the story of Advent and the context of the original Advent story to hold such beautiful depth and meaning of spirituality, a spirituality of waiting. Because Advent is not about waiting for presents or family gatherings or waiting for the parties. Advent is about waiting for the world to be different at its very core. So I want to do some contextualization and sort of how I interpret the story. The contextualization of Advent in the Christian tradition is that Advent is the season of waiting that leads up to Jesus's birth. And Jesus in the Christian tradition is God choosing to come to the world as a poor, immigrant, vulnerable human baby, the holy incarnate. And Jesus' life held great promise according to Christian scripture. His life, the symbol of God's love and salvation. And friends, salvation is a word that simply means healing. The root of the word salve is the same as salvation. So healing. His life a symbol of bringing healing to the world. And in this tradition, Jesus symbolizes the bringing of God's kingdom and peace to the world. And though for me, as a Unitarian Universalist, how I interpret it, I understand Jesus to be a human who embodied God's love so beautifully and fully and profoundly that an empire took notice. And I also believe that no human, divine or otherwise, will save us. But I do know that I too am waiting for a world that is not here yet. I am waiting for a world that holds more love and healing. I am waiting for a world that holds more justice. I am waiting for a world that feels safer to live in. I'm waiting for peace and security and safety and freedom for everyone. I'm waiting for an end to bombings. I'm waiting for hostages to come home. I'm waiting for human life to be held as sacred by each and every person, and especially by our political leaders. Are you waiting for any of these things? Because I am certainly waiting, and we do not yet live in the world that our hearts long for, that world that our hearts know is possible. And many of us are waiting for things closer to home as well. Perhaps you, like me, are waiting for a baby to arrive. Perhaps you are waiting to get pregnant, or perhaps you are waiting for the kids to graduate, or for reconciliation with someone, waiting to see what happens, waiting to get into school, waiting for a career move or for a surgery, waiting for news from the doctor. A year ago at this time, I was waiting to see if I would be serving this congregation and wondering what my life might look like a year from now. And so often in our lives, we find ourselves in times of waiting. And sometimes when I have found myself in those moments, in those stretches of time, it feels like I'm holding my breath. It feels like I am forgetting that the moment that I am in is its own chapter, too. I forget to ask, how do I want to live in this chapter of waiting? How can I make this time of waiting rich and meaningful and aligned with my values? So, almost 4 years ago, right after Christmas, my sister and her husband, Otto, got a call from a social worker. There was a baby at the hospital who needed a foster home. And Mara, at 4 days old, came home just a few months before the pandemic started. That July, 8 months later, they got another call. Would they take Mara's almost 5-year-old sibling, Leo? They said yes. And they said yes to these kids, not knowing how long they would be in their household. When I first held baby Mara at 5 days old, I remember wondering, is this a child that I will see just a few times before she goes on to another home? Or will she be part of my life forever? Am I all of a sudden Aunt Heather, or am I a random adult who's holding a baby who will never remember me? And how attached can I let myself become? Over the last 4 years, these kids' case has moved firmly toward adoption, and it has become clear that Amy and Otto, my sister and her husband, will be their parents forever. But it is still not finalized, and they are still waiting. We are all waiting. We are waiting to breathe a sigh of relief that the legal permanency of adoption will offer our family. And in the interim, while we are waiting, Amy and Otto are effectively co-parenting with the state of Massachusetts, needing permission to cross state lines with their kids, convincing a large bureaucratic agency to approve necessary services, needing to background check all babysitters, waiting to be able to do many of the normal things that full legal guardians take for granted. And they don't know how long this waiting will last. But even still, even in the waiting, they are living their life. They are parenting these two kids with so much tenderness and love and fierceness. And they are waiting, but they are living in the waiting. They are building community and family and tradition and love and connection and trust. Amy and Otto have thought a lot about how to navigate the waiting with the kids, who they have appropriately shielded from much of it. And early on, especially, it raised a lot of questions. I remember a few months in, my sister asking, do we use mom and dad language with these kids? Do they call you Aunt Heather? Do we talk about our parents as their grandparents? And it was Leo, the 5-year-old, who came to a decision before any of the adults did. Yes. I asked Amy a few years ago what it was like to live in the waiting. And she said, it felt like at some point we just needed to decide that actually what matters is we are a family right now. We are effectively their parents and we plan to be their parents forever. But we are still waiting for certainty and we don't know how long it will take. And even while we are waiting to legally be their parents, they are fully our kids and we are fully their parents. So in the meantime, while they wait, they are doing countdown calendars and school routines and going to church and eating dinners and changing diapers and celebrating birthdays and singing the preschooler back to sleep in the middle of the night. And they're having play dates and reading books and brushing teeth. They are just living in the waiting. Because this chapter, this waiting, has been a long chapter in their lives. But it is a full and a real and a necessary and a meaningful chapter too, the living in this waiting. So my friends, this Advent season, I invite us to wonder together, what are you waiting for? And how can you live in the waiting? Because the waiting is its own chapter in our stories, and our lives are happening too now while we wait. So may we find ways to fully live in the waiting, the now, this chapter of our lives, knowing that our lives do not lay on the other side of some closed doors, but are happening here, now, today, even as we wait. And may we be blessed too in this time of waiting, and may we know it as a holy and sacred time. May it be so, and amen.
Please join us in singing hymn number 55 and Rise in Body or Spirit. Dark of winter, soft and still, your quiet calm surrounds me. Let my thoughts go where they will, ease my mind profoundly, and then my soul will sing a song, a blessed song of love eternal. Gentle darkness, soft and still, bring your quiet to me. Darkness, soothe my weary eyes, that I may see more clearly. When my heart with sorrow cries, I'm on and press me, and then my soul may hear a voice, a still small voice of love eternal. Darkness, when my fears arise, let your peace flow through me. You may be seated.
A few announcements. First, please join us for coffee hour in the parish hall or breakout rooms on Zoom. We have the announcement that the winter fair raised a total of, well, this is gross, but there are a few expenses still coming, but $6,500. This year, we're reviving the TPC tradition of placing poinsettias in our sanctuary over the holiday in remembrance of loved ones. The poinsettias will beautify our church and welcome our friends and visitors as we celebrate the holidays in community. We're accepting donations of $20 per plant by mail, in person, and securely online in Breeze. I have no idea what that is, but to order a plant in someone's name, please sign up on the Google Sheet that was linked in the weekly e-news, or talk to Meredith St. John. The deadline for orders is Sunday, December 10th.
Friends, whatever it is that we are waiting for, may we wait with love and with hope and with joy and with peace. And whatever chapter we find ourselves in, whether we are waiting or whether a new chapter has arrived, may it be a time of great richness and meaning. May it be so, and amen.
The Christmas wreaths are available to pick up. I bought 60. There are 8 unsold. So Christmas wreaths are able to pick up right here in the breezeway.
There,
Hey, Jennifer.
now I'm unmuted.
I've come to coffee hour the virtual way.
Exactly.
I really